Hello, everyone, and welcome to Conversations with Shawna show. Today, I have a special guest. I'm so excited. I can't wait to have this conversation. But before we do that, if you're here joining me live, say hi. Let us know where you're coming in from. If you're on the replay, give us a hashtag replay so we can say hi later. And if you're coming in from my Powerhouse Women group, just click the StreamYard link above so we can see your comments and who you are. And for those of you who have not met me yet, my name is Shawna Roche, and I'm a transformational coach. And I work with my clients and I help them through fear, doubt, and uncertainty into love, expansion, and possibilities. So thank you again. And here is my guest today and dear friend, Shelley Hagen. Welcome, Shelley.
Hey, Shawna. How are you today, my friend?
I'm fabulous. I am so good. And I'm just playing here with my volume because I had it turned down. I am fabulous. So let me introduce the beautiful Shelley Hagen. I love it because Shelley and I are just so casual. We just like roll with it.
Yes.
So Shelley's a real estate investor. She also does some business consulting. I would just call you like the queen of real estate in my books because I met Shelley. Oh my God, it's been 4 years ago. And real estate mentor, and so that's kind of my little introduction. Like you're just like this real estate guru kind of thing. And I know you don't really like the word guru, but your years of experience, and we'll talk about just your real estate experience. And when I met Shelley, it's coming up 4 years. 4 years.
Unbelievable. Hey, how time goes. You never know.
It's crazy. And I just believe in both of us, like divine timing. And when I met Shelley, I was at a point in my career where I was really frustrated and wanted to try something new. And I literally had a situation with a gentleman at a different branch, not the branch I worked at. And I literally stood in my power and kind of just used my voice and let him have it. Let's just be real here. I went up one side, him down the other. I was just done taking crap. And I sat in my truck and I literally just went, God, universe, source, higher self, whatever powers up there, like help me find something else to do with my life. And I went back to work, and on my computer, I was on LinkedIn, and a thing popped up, and I never read the advertisements on the side. And all of a sudden, this one caught my eye because it was this pretty turquoise, and it was women in wealth, what was it called again? Women in wealth, financial freedom. That's what it was. And it was a free in-person workshop. So I signed up and I took a girlfriend of mine who's a realtor. And of course, we had no idea what this workshop was. And I walked into this workshop, and that's where I met the lovely Shelley Hagen.
And I'll never, ever forget meeting you because we had an instant connection during that time. And I happened to mention, because as a real estate investor, my career has taken many, many different directions. I still do real estate, but when the phone rings, it's business calling, and you never know what is going to come in the door. And you do need to keep focused on what your goals are and where you're going. And you can't always let everything distract you, but sometimes there's things that come there for a reason. And the universe brings stuff to you and you have no idea at the time. But I had been doing some gold and diamonds, and I still do brokering and some gold and other kinds of things. I used to be called like the wholesale queen for real estate, but now I kind of wholesale everything because there's always a seller and there's a buyer, and somewhere in the middle, I make an introduction and make some money, hopefully, along the way. But I happened to mention that I did diamonds, and Shawna like perked right up because she has some connections with diamonds and she loves diamonds. And so she came to me and started talking to me afterwards. And I just felt this real connection with her. She did decide to sign up for the real estate training, and then our relationship went from there because her and her husband, Bernie, came to some of the classes. And I've just, right from day one, have felt this kindred spirit or something with Shawna. And I just love her and her husband. They're just the wonderful friends, wonderful people. And it's been so interesting to see what has happened with your career, Shawna, because when you started, you were still working doing HVAC. And then you really wanted to do some stuff with real estate, but you went on such a strong personal journey of awareness and enlightenment and personal development. And it's been so interesting to see where that has taken you as a friend, because I went through that myself a number of years ago. I went through a program out of Seattle, Washington, that was life-changing for me. And that's why I left my job. I used to work for the phone company, was there for a long time, had moved myself into a middle management position. Then you kind of get stuck, right? You get to this point and you look around and you go, oh, wow, I worked real hard to get here. And now that I'm here, there's not a whole lot of places for me to go. And so was it stay and retire? And it was a great company to work for, don't get me wrong. Or do I take a leap of faith in myself and go off and try something else? And I decided to take a leap of faith and go off and do something else. And that's exactly what you've done as well, Shawna. So, it's interesting how the universe has led our lives to intersect during, the last few years. And it's just been so interesting. And along the way, which I found really interesting because we did a session together recently, how Shawna came to me and I was the trainer on real estate investing. And then she took some training.
Second, I can interrupt. I know. You're the very first mentor I've ever had.
The very first mentor?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, that's right. I guess I would have been, right? As far as like formal training.
Yeah, I never had that before. And we got to pick which mentor we wanted out of the whole group. And I was like, Shelley's my girl.
Exactly. And then Shawna then signed up for some programs and had some other mentors and took a little bit different direction. But things that were of personal interest to me. So she now has become my mentor and trainer, which I think is so awesome in our relationship that, I certainly consider us equals in a lot of, in all ways. And I thoroughly enjoyed learning from her, what she's experienced. It's been a lot of fun. So our life has gone interesting directions, but the key thing, I think, is you got to believe in yourself, right? Which is what you talked about a little bit, about standing in your voice and your true self and knowing when it's time to move on. Because I'm sure there's people that are out there in your audience today that are struggling with different things. Certainly, we're in unprecedented times because of what's going on in the world. And a lot of people are out of work and want to go back to work. Some are going, maybe this is a good opportunity for me to do something different. Everything happens for a reason. Maybe this whole thing happened for a reason that people need to go off and do something different with their life. And it's a good catalyst to launch them into something else. You just never know, right? And everything has a purpose. And there's trials and tribulations. Sometimes it's good and easy, and sometimes it's not. And but you just got to figure out what is your inner voice and what do you really want to do.
That's exactly it. And I love teaching people that stand in their power and listen to their inner voice and what lights them up and what makes them happy. And there's sometimes it can be something so simple.
Right.
Don't even think about it. And sometimes when we get out of our way and we get out of our head and we get that monetary, like the whole money thing out of your head, because that we have such huge money blocks because of how we were brought up. And so I had to go through all of that too for a while. It was just like releasing those money blocks and just like what makes me happy, what lights me up. And I love that you're here today because doing this show is what lights me up. And I'm like, I don't get paid for it. I don't want to get paid for it. I just decided it's something I've been talking about for a while. When I had my real estate, my Shaw Rocco page, my real estate page, I started interviewing like realtors, like my power team, mortgage brokers, lawyers, the realtors, like everybody, yourself, other investors. And that just lit me up. So even when I was going through some stuff and saying, okay, what really lights me up? And it was this show. So I was so excited to then, a few weeks ago or whatever it's been now, 4 weeks, and to just bring the show to life and bring people on here and have casual conversations and learn about their journeys, because it's so powerful, especially now. It's not as hard and scary to just take that leap of faith and try something new when you have others supporting you.
Exactly. And that's just it. And it's interesting too, because, um, I've had some challenges over the past year. And sometimes you think when you're going through things that you're all by yourself,
Mhm.
but really you're not. And it's all about you getting out of your own way sometimes, because you get so caught up in your head about things. And really there's a whole support network out there. Every one of us has it. Not one of us, I'm sure, is by ourselves. And if you are and you're listening today, there's people here to help you.
Mhm.
And it's like, you just need to start talking to people and telling them what, if you're going through some challenge, you want to change your job, you're having struggles because of COVID, because there's a lot of us that are, that people that are out there that have had, been laid off work or all the things that are going on. You just need to start talking to people and kind of letting them know what's going on. And you'll be shocked as to how many people can help you through that process as you're going forward. And so we're not alone. And every one of us goes through change. Like I look back over my, career and what I've been through and all the little steps that have come away. And, leaving my job of almost 20 years to go off on my own was a huge leap to go off and do that. And, I really had to sit and think about it for quite some time. And I remember one of the things that totally shocked me is I have some friends that I've been friends with since I was 10 years old. And there's three sisters, and our two families are like, joined together. It's like we're family, even though we're not physically related to each other. But I just remember her sitting down one day, and I was talking about that I was leaving, in a couple months, and kind of some of the concerns and worries and uncertainties. And she just looked at me and she goes, "Well, I don't know what you're worried about." She goes, "Because everything you do turns out well." She goes, "You'll figure it out." And I went, I think that's the motto being an entrepreneur. You have no idea from one day to the next what's going to happen, but you'll figure it out. And even if you're going through ups and downs, and I've certainly had them in my career and real estate, there's always good times and there's times that are tougher. But you just got to keep hanging in there and never quit, never give up.
Yeah, I love that you said that, never give up, because we talk about that. I mean, in my course, Mastering the Brain Game, that Shelley took, which
Yes,
I was so
totally.
honored that you took, and I got, like I said, I got to be your mentor. But, when we talk about the stairs, and it's like your stairway to freedom, and it's like you have your end vision, your end dream, your big vision, your big dream. And then it's like right here, it's all you have to know is like your first step and your second step. The gap in between, it's like that's where you get excited, because it's like, here's my dream. I'm going to take this step today, inspired action each day. This part in between, get excited about it. And that's something I had to learn, because that is where we normally spin out.
Right.
That's where we have all the, okay, well, how do I get to there? Because it's so big and I don't know how to do this and I don't know how to do that. And it's like, who is it? Mike Dooley, who does the Notes from the Universe. If anybody is familiar with that, he talks about the cursed house in one of his books. And so that's exactly it. That's where you spin right there. And that can stop you right in your tracks. And that's where a lot of people then walk away. And they're like, okay, I'm done. And especially as entrepreneurs, we have those moments where all of a sudden it's like, I don't know how to do this anymore. I don't know how to do this. And we get so spinning in that section that we give up and we walk away. And in some cases, it was like another little baby step. And then there was the next one. So I sat there. It was just yesterday, actually. I did some journaling yesterday morning, and just all kinds of stuff came through. And it was really interesting because I was reading I read a lot, and I was reading one thing, and it's like, I give myself permission to make mistakes.
Absolutely.
And it
And it's
was like,
okay. It's not defining who you are, right? Because a mistake. everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah. And it
Right.
was like, I was like, and I was reading that and I go, I like that. And it was like, it was kind of, so I was writing it out kind of as a little mantra, right? I give myself permission to make mistakes, just keep moving forward one step at a time. And it truly is baby steps. And that has been a big thing for me. And that's interesting because that's also where I've delivered a power code to you, numerology, where the numerology is another thing I love. I'm a numerologist, is stepping into and understanding that my power code, because I am the type of person, I want things now.
Right.
And so when you really understand those parts of you understand your code, it's like, okay, I know I want this, but this is where I should just be breathe and trust and have faith that it is going to happen. And it's like, it's amazing because I look at both you and me in 4 years
Right.
and it is so like how things have changed. Like you taught me, I don't even remember how many real estate, like was it 3 courses I took with you? 3, because I did the whole package and
Yes.
my instructor for 3 of the courses. And when you were sitting here at our house with me and Bernie and we were doing the mentorship, and just hearing your story, it was like same thing then. It was like right away I was like, oh, I want to be a real estate mogul. I want to have mogul. I want to have all these properties. And then hearing your story, and it's like, oh, okay, it doesn't happen overnight. It is, no matter what it is, it's the one step at a time to get there.
Absolutely. And it's like anything, right? Even with your business, now that you've gone off to, I mean, you didn't overnight have this blossoming business. It takes work, and everything comes with hard work and determination and believing in yourself and keeping going and not listening to those people who are naysayers. And well, that was one of the things that when I was leaving my job at the phone company and people were talking to me and they wanted to know what I was doing, and I was kind of elusive. I didn't tell them, and then finally I started telling people I wanted to go off and do real estate investing, and people are going, oh, what is that and whatever. And then one day, well, someone just looked at me and said, yeah, but how are you going to do that, kind of this tone.
Yeah.
And I looked at them and I said, you know what, I have absolutely no idea, but I do trust that I will figure it out. And I just walked away because there's always going to be people that are going to not necessarily support you. And sometimes it's your closest friends and family because they're afraid for you, for one thing, that you're going to get in trouble and, whatever. But they're also afraid for themselves because they're afraid that you're going to be successful and you're going to move on and maybe not be with them anymore in the future. You're not going to be the same person. And I look back to those 3 sisters who I just referenced earlier, who were wonderful friends of mine. I see them every time I go home. They never ask me about my life. They don't care. Really, they just care about me as a person, but they don't really want to know about anything that I do or whatever. So I don't talk to them about it because I know that there's people that are not necessarily understanding it and they're going to support me. And I only want to talk to the people that I know will support me, right? So people like you, Shawna, who are positive, motivating, and see the potential in things and want to improve yourself. Those are the kinds of people that I talk to about my changes and whatever. And even with the current stuff that I've been working on, it takes a lot of deals, even in real estate. Remember what we always say in real estate? It takes about 100 offers before you get one accepted. And that's kind of the same with the brokering stuff that I do. It takes a lot of deals before you get the right one to come together. And people are like, so did you get paid yet? Did you get paid yet? Did you get paid yet? It's like, I don't even talk to them about it because it's that whole negative energy that's always coming. And I want to focus on, positive, moving forward, getting paid, moving on to the next one, whatever that happens to be. So it's like sometimes you just have to kind of put those people on the back burner. Not that I'm saying get rid of them out of your life altogether. It's just pick the group that's going to help you be successful and support you going forward.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. And I love that you said that because we have conversations all the time about what you're doing, just because what you do and the brokering you do, the wholesaling, it fascinates me. But I've never once asked you, like, do you get paid? Like for me, that's the thing. It's like, whatever, it'll come.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with the conversation. It's
Right.
what you're doing and the journey you are on, and watching you talk about what you do and how you light up, and some of the stuff you do is like so fascinating. I mean, like I won't go into detail, but like you said, brokering diamonds, I'm like, hello, I love diamonds.
Exactly. And I have been on such a learning curve over the past little while. In fact, today I was on a call with somebody, and I'm I'm talking away about something, and I said, well, do you understand what this is? And they said no. And then I went on and explained a little bit about what it was, and they went, how did you figure that out? And I go, I don't know exactly when I figured it out, but I figured it out somewhere along the line. And because it just kind of come as part of that business. Every business has its own processes and terminology and stuff like that, and it takes a while for you to get the lingo figured out and what they're actually talking about and how the whole thing works behind the scenes, right? Whether it be numerology or brokering diamonds or whatever, there's a certain jargon that comes with those businesses, and
Yeah.
it just takes a little while. And so I find it fun because I really like to learn something new all the time and have new things coming. If I did the same old thing day in, day out, I'd be so bored. But,
Yeah.
that's just me.
I know. That's me too. That's probably why, because we're both so exactly that way. And I love that when things come up with you, because you've wholesaled some interesting things, and it's like you just stay open and curious, which
Right.
I love, because you're like, okay, so how can we do this? Oh, I got this person, and then you connect people, and then you bring deals together, and I just find it so fascinating, because it's not like you're like, oh, well, no, that's like way out there. You're just like, oh, this is cool. How can I make this work?
Yeah. Who do I know that can maybe help with this, right? And
Exactly.
that's kind of where the last 6 or 8 months I've been working on a new business opportunity that came to me. And initially, when it came to me, because I have a very large network, as as you do, Shawna, but my network is quite international. I have a lot of people that are over in Europe, etc. And people started calling me up when this whole global situation started, and were asking me, hey, can you help me get this? Can you help me get that? And I go, no, no. And I brushed it off for about 2 weeks, and I kept saying, no, like, I don't want anything to do with it. And then finally one person phoned me up and I go, really, how many calls have you had? And I go, gosh, I get calls every day. And it started escalating. And next thing you know, I'm like right in the throes of it. And I kind of looked back after 2 weeks and went, how did I get here? Like, really? But it's been interesting. And I've met a whole new group of people as a result of it, and expanded my network even further. And you just never know when you meet somebody what that opportunity is going to be for the future, because this is kind of a short-lived thing that I've been working on. But everybody that I talk to, when I meet them, I always say to them, so tell me what it is that you did normally in your business. What other things are you looking for? Because, excuse me, you never know what opportunity lies in that introduction, right? So, and it's amazing how many people have a connection to real estate.
Yeah.
Like, almost everybody that I meet has some kind of connection somewhere along the line in real estate or funding or something.
Yeah.
So it all kind of joins together. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
I love that you said that, because I was just putting together just some stuff here, working with some realtors, investors around numerology and contracts, because it's all about the numbers, and just finding out myself after doing some real estate contracts that the energy of the day affects when you're signing a contract. So there are different days that
Yeah.
are better for signing contracts, whether you're buying a house, selling a house, whatever part of the real estate deals. So I've been kind of playing around with that a bit, because it really actually fascinated me, because I was looking at one of my deals in the energy of the day, and it was one of my deals that I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't have done that one.
I understand that too, because I had been introduced to numerology a few years before I met you through another person. But I've taken much more intense stuff with you since then. But it hadn't even occurred to me that the day that we were signing the contract made a big difference as to whether you're going to be successful or not. And I look back at that and I go, wow. And even then, how you structure the names of your companies and the date that you actually set up the company as well. Like, who would have thought, But
Yeah.
now, much more educated. I'm in
Yeah.
the process of setting up a new group with my friend Nina, and we're calling ourselves the Abundant Investors. And I did the numerology on that name. We had several names, and
Yeah.
I responded back to her. I said, "Here's the three I think we should go, and here's why." And she goes, "Oh, I wouldn't even thought about it, at that point in time." But now I'm much more conscientious of setting yourself up to be successful right from the very beginning. Yeah,
Yeah. I love that. Oh, good for you and Nina. That's
yeah,
exciting. Oh,
yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah, it makes a big difference. And then, just diving into it's not only like your power code, understanding your code, but really diving into, like you and I one night, we just sat there for a few hours diving in, is
Yeah.
understanding your annual rhythm. Like, when to actually let ideas flow, when to bring in resources and people, when to take action and build your business, when to relax, when to go, okay, now is the time where I need to go and maybe course correct. And so there's all that comes into play, and it's there. And when you start to understand it, everything flows so much easier. Life
Doesn't
doesn't
it
have to
all?
be hard.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes, very
Yeah.
interesting. Very
Yeah.
interesting.
Let's talk about for a minute, because I haven't I was really fascinated about what's going on with the market with COVID right now, because I was checking in just recently, because I've just been kind of focusing on my coaching business. I hadn't really been paying attention to the market, but I just recently talked to a couple of realtors and mortgage brokers, and they said they're just going crazy right now. Like, they are so busy. They're saying prices haven't gone up, like, as far as what they were, but they are so busy right now.
Well, and it depends of who you are. So that's a very good question. Um, so when COVID first struck back in, March, and everyone started isolating, the market went pretty flat, especially like by April. There was deals in the hopper already in March that were closing the end of April, end of March, beginning of April, because I had mentor clients I was helping work through that process. And we had to get extensions and things because all of a sudden the inspectors weren't supposed to go into the houses and, all that kind of stuff, right? And so April and May was pretty flat. There wasn't a whole lot going on. Everybody was in isolation. The realtors could do virtual tours with people, but people weren't supposed to go to the houses unless they absolutely wanted to. And then as of May, the end of May, they started to loosen up a little bit as we kind of started to get into, phase two of reopening. And so by the time we got to June and July, there was a pent up demand because also during that time, the government had changed the interest rates, right? The
Mhm.
bank rates had gone down, the interest rates had gone up, and they changed the stress test for new buyers as well. So it wasn't as strict. So now interest rates were better, prices were down. There wasn't as much inventory on the market though, and you could get better financing. Excuse me. So June and July were crazy busy because all of a sudden people had this pent up demand and people were starting to get out of their house and, do things again. And so the prices, we were in competitive offers, all kinds of stuff was happening. It was just kind of wild. It was like the Wild West. And across the country, it was kind of happening across the country. Now, come August, it slowed down a little bit. Now we don't have as much inventory on the market here in Calgary, where Shawna and I live in this area, which is one of the problems. But September stayed fairly steady, and I've talked to some mortgage broker friends of mine, and they were just crazy busy in June, July, and
Mhm.
then in August it kind of started to slow down. So it's still fairly busy, but they're
Mhm.
not as busy as they were back then. And there are a lot of people refinancing because the interest rates have gone down. But the thing that people don't think about is when you go to refinance in the middle of your term, there's going to be a penalty And there could also be an interest rate differential that the bank is going to charge you. Because if I was at, 2.5%, and now I'm getting 1.8 or 1.9%, they're losing so much interest. So they're going to charge you a penalty in interest as well on that. And so one of my friends just refinanced, but didn't know and understand the interest rate differential and had to come out of pocket with $6,000. Over time, she's going to save herself 20 or so. Her monthly payment's gone down, and she's now retired and has a limited income. So that would help her on her monthly budget, but she sure didn't have $6,000 she'd planned on putting out. So if you're going to look at refinancing, you certainly do need to keep that in mind. The other thing that's happening right now is in Alberta, 1 million people were on CERP, which was done at the end of September. And there's a new program that's going to roll in for people, but you can't do anything with it till October 12th. And 1 in 5 mortgages in Canada are on mortgage deferral. And a lot of those mortgage deferral have now come to an end as well at the end of 6 months. Now, I do have one friend that has hers extended to the end of the year, but that's not common. So now each individual has to be assessed independently by the bank, whether they will extend the deferral for another month or two. And if they're going to do that because of COVID, and we're still, especially if we go into lockdown again in like Ontario and Quebec, which are experiencing high numbers of new cases, then these banks are going to want money from the government. And the government hasn't put a program in place that I'm aware of. Like there could be something, I just haven't heard about it, to pay them some of the money, because they're not getting any mortgage payments from anybody. 1 in 5 mortgages, 20% of the mortgages in Canada are not making their payments. And so if those people are still out of work, they have to start making their mortgage payments again. What do we think is going to happen? We're going to have a bunch of people that are going to be defaulting on mortgages. And so we're probably going to see now a significant increase in people that are going to be going into foreclosure. And in Western Canada, that takes a little longer for that to come into effect, because we normally get about a 6-month window for redemption. But in Ontario, if you have people there, they have power of sale, and that's 35 to 45 days. So that could start to show up really quickly in that market. And so we're going to start to see people probably sometime in the next 6 months defaulting on mortgages, properties coming up for foreclosure, and you're going to start to see a significant increase in people going into consumer proposal and bankruptcy. So our economy is going to take a hit, and not only our economy, but all the economies in the world, right? Because this is just a global impact with everything that's going on.
Yeah.
So, there's going to be opportunities out there. It's, how we manage those opportunities, because there's going to be a lot of people that are also struggling, right, as you go forward.
Yeah.
So anybody that has counseling services, debt counseling, debt, repair, private lenders, it's going to be busy.
Yeah. Wow. Let's talk after about that, because I wouldn't mind bringing a couple of people on the show that can help people in those situations and just have conversations about it, because I wasn't really thinking like that. And I was just like, the impact that's coming because of it. And that's pretty powerful, Shelley. So yeah, let's talk afterwards and connect me, because I want to bring a few people on the show here. I had a few people in mind for mortgage brokers, but credit specialists and debt specialists for sure. Yeah.
Well, and you think about everything that comes along with that, right?
Yeah.
When you're stressed out about money, it's such a challenge on your relationships, husband and wife or partners, whoever happen to be together in that household. And now one or both of you are out of work, you're about to lose your house. This is, if you got children or even just your own roof over your head, so stressful. And then you're dealing with all the other anxiety and things that have happened as a result of COVID, which we've seen, extreme increase in mental health because of people are so stressed out and anxious and just don't want to be, are being forced to isolate and not being able to deal with being alone all the time.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of counseling that's going to need to help heal this, our society. It's not just any one country. Everybody is going to be impacted by that.
Very, very much so, because when you talk about counseling too, like people automatically think, yes, it is your thoughts. It's a big deal with your thoughts, but it's being in those stressful situations and putting you in that fight or flight where then your body turns to react to it. And your body reacts to that, which then all of a sudden lowers your immune system and invites disease in. So there's like so much more that comes from it that we don't even really think about, because we're so stressed out and we're so in that state of panic and anxiety and everything, but we don't actually understand how we're harming our bodies. And just even being able to take yourself out of that state, even for small periods a day, can do so much, can help your body so much, just calm your nervous system down.
Exactly. And just to help people realize that we all go through challenges in life and we will get through them. And what might seem like the darkest hour at this particular point in time, there will be a light at some point in time at the end of the tunnel, and you will get through it. At some point, you'll have this behind you. And look at this happened down in the United States in 2008 after the global financial crisis, because look how dramatically their market was impacted, right? And it took a long time for people to get back into a home ownership market. And when it originally happened, it's like 60% of the people said they would never own another home because they had so much stress and losing their home and their jobs and had to move in with family, and 2 and 3 families were living together. And then now those people have bought houses again and they've, gotten back on track. And so you will get through it. It's not going to, there's challenges along the way, but you'll get through it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I love that you said that. Oh my gosh, this has been an amazing conversation.
Well, this kind of took a life of its own, didn't it?
I know. That's what
I don't like structure, as you can tell. I was like, let's just see where it goes.
Yeah, you and I get together. It's so funny because normally there's like points to keep us on topic. Let's talk about this. And you and I were like, we're just going to let it flow.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, girl. Well, we've been on 40 minutes. Yay.
Okay, there we go. All right. Well, thank you so much for inviting me to come. It was so wonderful to see you again. I look forward to seeing you guys here in a couple of weeks when we get together again next after the long weekend. So thank you so much. And I wish everybody an awesome day and all the best, and look forward to seeing you again soon.
Yes, I'll get you to hang on a moment. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. If you want to follow Shelley, we can put her information in the comments. And thank you so much for joining us. If you have any questions, just go ahead and put them in the comments. And we will talk soon. Hi, Colleen. Yeah, thank you for joining us. I'm glad you enjoyed it. So thank you so much, everybody. Have a fabulous Tuesday.
Okay, thanks. Bye for now.